GoForThe2.com in with the Week 8 predictions. Before I get into the college picks in this game, Ole Miss and Auburn, this coming Saturday, October 24th, kick off your tailgate with us, College Football Today, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern. College Football Today, 10 a.m. Eastern to 12 p.m. Eastern, 2 straight hours. Madison Square Garden networks MSG Plus in the tri-state area, or go to sportsgrid.com. Sportsgrid.com, I give you all the top 25 selections, talk about the under-the-radar games. We have the Big Ten and Mountain West kicking off this coming Saturday. Give you my best bets that are on this video, along with some other picks as the week progresses. Give you totals, so tune in for 2 straight hours. Start your tailgate off with us. It's a great show. We have great guests as well. This coming Saturday, College Football Today, Madison Square Garden networks MSG Plus for 2 straight hours, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern. Then from 12 to 5, once the games kick off, In-Game Live takes off. So In-Game Live, sportsgrid.com, from the in-game wagering perspective, have some solid matchups at 12 o'clock. Auburn, Ole Miss. We also have Oklahoma, TCU, Nebraska, Ohio State, just to name a few at 12. Like 8 solid games to talk about. We also talk about those 1:30 kicks, along with the start of the 3:30 kicks as well. Give you what I see in terms of the football aspect, along with the in-game wagering perspective. So tune in this coming Saturday, In-Game Live from 12 to 5. College Football Today pregame, 10 to 12 p.m. Eastern, sportsgrid.com and MSG Plus. Let's break this game down in Oxford between Auburn and Ole Miss, 2 teams in disappointing seasons so far. You look at Auburn, they lost to Georgia. They followed that up with a lackluster win over Arkansas, barely won that ball game, and then went on the road as a 3-point favorite last week against South Carolina. They owned the series, had won 8 straight against the Gamecocks. Last time they played was back in 2014. Started fast in that matchup, held a 16-7 first half lead, and found a way to lose the ball game in the second half, 30-22. Bo Nix had the football with about a minute left in that matchup, led his team down to the 8-yard line, could not convert on a critical 4th down, and South Carolina and Colin Hill did pick up the underdog outright win over Auburn. On the flip side, you look at Ole Miss, they were about a 3.5-point favorite over Arkansas. Arkansas stepped up for 6 interceptions against Matt Corral, raced out to a 21-point first half lead, and held on for a 12-point win over Ole Miss in that matchup. So a gutty effort for Arkansas and Sam Pittman. And Ole Miss, from a defensive perspective, is still reeling, even against an anemic offense and not even a balanced offense in Arkansas. So that'll be the matchup to see play out in Oxford. It's a contrast in styles. You have Auburn that still wants to run the football and keep Matt Corral on the sidelines. And on the flip side, Lane Kiffin and that high-powered Ole Miss attack want to press Auburn's defense and, more importantly, force Bo Nix to match them score for score in this ballgame. You look at Ole Miss's offense entering this matchup, rushing for over 200 yards per game with their running backs, Snoop Connor and Ely. Ely could also be utilized in the short to intermediate passing game. They're averaging well over 300 yards passing with Matt Corral. He was playing lights out up into that ball game on the road last week with 6 interceptions. Where was the mindset of Ole Miss overall as well? They played toe-to-toe with Alabama, had an emotional game, then went on the road to face an Arkansas team that was just a middle-of-the-road team. And I think they got caught sleeping in that matchup. But when you look at this ballgame as well, you look at the flip side for Auburn. Last year, prior to Chad Morris, this was an offense that wanted to rush the football, had success. They were averaging 199 rushing yards per game. They bring in Chad Morris, who came from SMU in Arkansas. He wants a more balanced offense. He wants to have 5 wide and incorporate the up-tempo passing attack for Bo Nix, but they didn't have the type of offensive lineman or the type of personnel to really run that type of style. And that's why the running game struggled in the first couple of games of the season against Kentucky and against Georgia. They only pounded the rock for 31 yards in the first game and 91 in the second. That wasn't going to get it done. Oh, actually, it was flipped. 92 against Kentucky and 31 against Georgia. That would not get it done. But in the last couple of games, the offensive line has found continuity. They pounded the rock for 259 against Arkansas, averaged 6.1 yards per carry. And last week against a solid defensive front in South Carolina, they rushed for 209 yards on the ground, over 5 yards per carry. And their running back, Tank Bigsby, is starting to come on as being one of the most underrated running backs in the SEC. He can catch the football in the short to intermediate passing game. They also like to utilize DJ Williams. Shivers is still hurt in terms of that offense and might be out this coming Saturday, but I don't think it matters. It comes down to the physicality for the Auburn offensive line to wear down the front seven of Ole Miss. And when you look at Ole Miss overall right now, they are reeling from a defensive front perspective. This is a defense that's giving up 265 rushing yards per game, 6.1 yards per carry. They're allowing 55% in terms of third down conversions. And more importantly, when you look at the quarterbacks that they have faced, every quarterback on their schedule so far has completed well over 60% of their passes. And that includes Terry Wilson when they went on the road and won that ball game in overtime. Terry Wilson completed 77% of his passes in that matchup. So I think that's the matchup to see play out in terms of Ole Miss from a defensive perspective. If Auburn could dictate the tempo, run the football, keep Matt Corral and Elijah Moore on the sidelines along with Ely and Connor, it's going to be a long day for Ole Miss in this matchup. When you look at the series perspective, Auburn has won 16 out of 20 games this decade straight up, 16-4 overall, and they've won the last 4 meetings in the series by an average margin of victory of 13.2 points per game. I think they're still the more physical team. I know Bo Nix had it out on the sidelines with Seth Williams, but I think their ability to run the football will keep them in manageable third down situations. That'll open up the play-action passing game, and I expect Bo Nix to bounce back with a big day this coming Saturday against the Ole Miss defense. He's only completing around 55% of his passes, 836 yards, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I think Auburn breaks out in a big way, has a dominant offensive effort, and does win this ball game Saturday afternoon in Oxford by double digits.